Okay, as I mentioned, what we're going to talk about today is the VMSG dashboard public health performance management system. And truly, we say it's a public health performance management system because it truly was developed with and specifically for public health over the course of about the last 15 years in various iterations. What the system really is it started out even well before accreditation came about. It's a operational planning and execution system. So operational planning is basically taking your strategic plan and getting it down to the level where you have very specific activities defined that will assure that you get the execution of that plan the place you want it here. So what we did is incorporated around the Deming or PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, and adjust, we call it. And we'll show you some live examples of how that works in the system here. Performance management versus performance monitoring. There's a lot of systems out there. In Kentucky, they've used Quipfolio quite a bit. And Quipfolio is a nice performance monitoring system. It'll show you nice graphs and dashboards of how you're doing on your plan. But the problem is when the plans start going awry, what do you do about it? And a performance management system is the tool that helps you to do that. We'll show you the difference in a few minutes here. And again, as we mentioned, it was developed with initially with Maricopa County, Arizona. That was the genesis of it. They're the third largest public health jurisdiction in the nation. So we have a lot of great expertise from them helping us to develop this tool. Over the years that it's been commercialized, we've had a lot of great feedback from other health departments and added a lot of really nice features that are, again, specific to public health based on public health feedback here. As far as the accreditation process goes, 2011 they came about, and this system was up and running in Maricopa County long before that. The FAB people came in and said, wow, that's a performance management system. So clever marketing we did, we changed the name from a planning system to a performance management system, and that's what we've been selling it for. It has been fully demonstrated in now over 25 health departments. Of the 65 health departments that are using the system across the nation, 25 of them have already gone through the full accreditation process using this tool, especially standard 9.1, which just basically is a check the box saying you have a performance management system. But really getting down into it, we like to focus on things like Measure 9.1.1a, which talks about getting people at all levels in the organization involved. So we built a model that's a multi-user system that allows everybody in your organization to have an account at a very cost-effective rate so that people can all come in and contribute to the plan at their specific area of expertise. And we'll show you how we assign those people into the plan. So getting people, internal folks in your department, as well as your community partners involved directly, it gives everybody that feeling that they're contributing to the big picture in here, and it shows them exactly by what they're doing, how they can contribute to the big picture. Again, we'll show that in a minute here. One of the things we ran across when we originally developed the system, it was basically a series of Excel spreadsheets. And there was literally 100 Excel spreadsheets in a large health department of different operational plans for different divisions, offices, and programs. And one of the issues we came across was the ability to look across all of those spreadsheets for commonalities, like the essentials of public health or like the FAB accreditation standards, that sort of thing. So what we did is build this thing called three-dimensional planning, which is an overlay across all of the plans that allows you to look at specific information against a set of standards in each plan. And again, I'll show you an example of that. And then one of the first major, I mentioned that the system was rolled out initially, and we had a lot of feedback from clients and did a lot of changes. And one of those was the ability to manage documents. This primarily came about because of the accreditation process, where you can be managing up to about 600 documents, primarily evidence documents for, did you do this standard, and what are the evidence documents for that. But being able to manage those through the process of creating the document, editing the document, finalizing it, and uploading it into EFAB became a real problem because there's so many of them. You got to be able to track the dates and the versions and all that stuff. So we built a document management system right in that allows you to manage all of those documents and very easily extract them and upload them into EFAB. Again, I'll show you an example of that here. So what you see is kind of the background, the history of the system here. Now we're going to get directly into kind of performance management itself. So over the years that we've been doing consulting work with public health around performance management and leadership development and such, we've kind of narrowed down our definition of what performance management is to make it kind of something that everybody can look at. So yeah, we can do that very easily here. So number one it's operational planning. So having a very specific planning methodology that you can utilize to develop all of your plans. So we developed this really great methodology in conjunction with public health and academia. Arizona State University, my business partner was a management professor at Arizona State University for 25 years. He developed the original guidelines for the plan. We took it to public health and said, what do you think? And we said, well, we love that. That's exactly what we've been doing for years. So we came up with this methodology. So as you're developing your plans, your strategic plan, your workforce development plan, a QI plan, all those things that you have to do for accreditation, you can put the plans into a specific format so everything kind of looks the same and you can measure things the same. So it really is nice. So originally having a good operational plan that gets you down to that activity level that says, here's exactly how we're going to execute this plan. And once you have the plan in place, you're going to monitor that plan. So here's where that performance monitoring tool comes in here. So in the dashboard, we have two levels of performance monitoring tools. The macro level, which is the overall, how's the department doing? Or how's WIC doing? Or how's emergency preparedness doing? And it gives you that big picture. I'll show you more about that. And then we have what we call.
I'm good.
Yes?
No, I'm good. I'm just struggling to see that two screens, but I'm sure you're going to bring them up bigger at some point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just kind of giving you the overview now. So the micro level is a specific activity over time. And then obviously, once you have the performance monitoring and you see something is not going as you expected, you've got to be able to make changes in that. So you got to do performance improvement at that point. And this is where that Deming cycle comes in: plan, do, check, and adjust. We'll show you a live example as we're going through that here. So these are the three elements of performance management if you simplify it: a good plan, monitoring the plan, and then making changes if necessary in the plan. So I'm going to go through this slide kind of quickly because it's kind of overwhelming. This is the planning model in the system. So at the very top, it starts out with your organization, which is just your health department. Underneath that is your org chart. So the structure, your offices, your programs, how they all tie together in there. Underneath that, we have what we call services or initiatives, which is the what we're doing. And we'll show you a live example in a second here. And then under services initiatives, we have goals, objectives, and activities. And each group will have a set of services, as you'll see. Each service a set of goals, each goal a set of objectives, each objective a set of activities. So goals, objectives, and activities are the project plan to implement that service in there. Let's go into a live example here. So this is the dashboard screen itself we're talking about. It's kind of that macro performance monitoring tool. But what I'm going to do up here, the pyramid that you just saw started out in organization, then goes down to groups, services. It's these tabs across the top. The pyramid is kind of sideways if you think about it. So this is the top of the pyramid and going down and down and down through the pyramid here. So I'm going to go to my groups level here, my org chart, and I'm going to select my community health division. So under community health, then, I'm going to look at the specific services that community health provides to the organization. In this case, we're going to talk, there's 4 services here, as you can see. These are the big picture buckets that community health provides. But we're going to focus on the Safe Kids program. And specifically, we're going to go down to the level of the car seat program within the Safe Kids program, where you can provide car seats to folks who might not be able to afford that. So we're going to march through this. So we got the service of what we do, the Safe Kids program. At the goal level, we have several goals down here. And we mark everything, you'll notice, with a status flag. So red, yellow, green, and gold. And we call it traffic light plus because the plus being that gold bar. The gold just means that we've successfully completed it. Green is everything is up and to the right, moving ahead. Yellow is caution for some reason, maybe a financial shortfall, or maybe somebody's going to leave the organization. And then red is, what we thought was going to happen did happen, and it's come to a screeching halt here. So red, yellow, green, and gold, and every planning element from here on down you'll see is marked with red, yellow, green, and gold, so you can track it, get a really good idea just visually of how things are moving forward here. So now for this particular goal of promote, provide child passenger safety and education and resources to partners and a community at large, we're going to look at the objectives specifically for that, and then there's 4 of those. Now, at the objective level, we start getting a little bit more detailed in a couple of ways. Number one, we enter them in a SMART format. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based, I think is SMART. So you look at it, so by June 30th of 2018, Safe Kids USA will distribute 1,040 car seats to families through the various programs. 1,040, by the way, is 20 car seats a week. That's kind of our projection of what the community would bear, if you will, if we had this program. Down at the bottom, we have the information that's reflected by what I select up top, and this is where I do my editing and things down here. I also, at this point, start assigning responsibility for the this particular objective to a specific person. So in this case, I've assigned Diane Cox as my objective leader. So Diane is responsible for making sure that this objective and the activities underneath that are completed. Now, she's probably not the person doing the activities. She's probably their team leader or a manager, something along that line. But I can assign anybody from the organization as an objective leader here. So for this particular objective now, I'm going to go down to the activity level and see what's going to make that up. And we're trying to get 1,040 car seats over the year, 20 car seats a week. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish funding. So we're going to get somebody who's going to fund it, probably the Safe Kids program, but maybe a local benefactor or somebody along that line who can afford 20 car seats a week. Down at the bottom, we have a lot of detail. We won't go into a great detail here, but we have an activity statement, just what we're going to do. We have a performance metric that says, how do we know when we successfully completed that activity? We have an activity type, of which there are 3, and I'll go over a little bit more detail as we go down the path here. We're going to talk about this project-based activity. There's a beginning date, an ending date, and a percent complete. So it's really kind of easy to manage. We're going to say, within this time frame, we're going to accomplish this, and we're going to measure it by how far along we are in this case. This is just for this particular type of activity. We also down here have the ability to assign team leaders, team members, and external partners here. So it's very simple. I can just click on here. I can assign team members and team leaders. So I can assign one team leader and as many team members as I need to, just by checking the boxes here. And these team members can be either within my group or outside of the group, so I can be a cross-functional team, if you will, in there. We also, at this point, start tracking the FTE value for each of those team members and team leaders. And what we're doing with that is the ability to kind of quantify the relative cost of the activity, which rolls up to the objective, which rolls up to the goal, and rolls up to the service. So I get an idea of kind of relative costing for this. And I can put real cost numbers to it as well, just by understanding what the average burden labor rate is in our department, multiplying the number by the FTE. I'll show you where we roll these up in a few different places here. But typically what you're going to say is, Diane is saying that this particular project is going to take her about 0.1 FTE or 4 hours a week. Same thing with Mara here. We also then have the ability to assign external partners. So we have an external partner database. In this case, we're assigning Andrea's car seat installation as our installation partner down here. And Andrea shown is the person that we're assigning to that, the person we're going to communicate with and who's going to be part of this team in here. So internal and external partners can be assigned at this point here. So now let's go back to our pyramid here. So we have the pyramid in place. This kind of walk through here. USA Public Health is our demo organization. The group is Community Health. Safe Kids is the program. The goal is to provide car seats to those who can't afford them. By June 30th, we're going to install 1,040 car seats, and we've got a set of activities to do that. So the activities are finding funding. Number 2 is we're going to market the program through our PIO office. So they're going to go out and do some external marketing to the proper demographic of folks who would qualify for the program. We're going to create a relationship with a local car seat installer, which you just saw with Andrea's car seat installation. And then we're going to install 20 car seats a week. So that's the activity. That's the specific project plan that's going to get us to the car seat program. So now let's go back to here and say, okay, what are we going to do with this? So the first thing we're going to do is create the plan, which you just saw. So the plan goes all the way down to that activity level. Number 2 is we're going to execute the plan. And we're probably going to execute that plan for maybe a couple of months to start with as we're ramping the program up. During this whole time, the system is communicating with our external partner, Andrea's car seat installation, and basically many car seats did you install last week? So on a weekly basis, Andrea will get an email. She'll respond through what we call a quick update system, which allows her just to go and basically put in the number of car seats they installed. And when she does that, it's going to update the database. And that's going to happen every week. So the system is doing all the monitoring in the background for us by communicating with the external people here. So at some point in time, we're going to say, okay, let's see how we're doing. So we're going to go into the check phase. Let me show you how that works. So my activity here is to install 20 car seats a week. I want to see how we've done over the last, say, 10 weeks. So I'm going to click on the little chart button here, and there it is. We have a couple things on here that you're looking at. The blue line is the number of car seats installed each week. And you see we started out at 9 and ramped up, and now we're running along about 21 or 22. The green line here is that value we set that says, if we're at this level or higher, it's automatically going to set the traffic light to green, and it's exactly what we're looking for. If it's at 10 or below, it's going to say, oops, something's wrong here. We're not doing the job. What's going on? And anything in between the red and the green line is going to be marked as yellow. So this automatically sets that traffic light for you in this particular type of an activity here. So in this case, I'd look at that in my check phase, and I'd say, everything looks great. We're targeting 20 car seats a week. We ramped up a little bit slow, but we got there, and now we're humming along at 20. Everything's good. No adjustments need to be made. Now, let me be devil's advocate here and say, what if the chart looked like this? So in this case, we did the same ramp up. We got up, got going, whoops. Looks like we topped off at about 15 car seats a week. So this is the performance monitoring at the micro level we were talking about. I'm looking at this particular activity and saying, something's wrong here. I got to go back and figure this out. So in a performance monitoring system, this is kind of where you'd stop. You have this information. Now you got to go back and find your plan, figure out all the people involved in the plan, figure out what's going on. In this case, you're in the plan. So I just go back here to my plan, and I'm going to go up and look at it. I'm going to say, okay, we're establishing funding. We have a gold bar here, meaning we've had funding for 20 car seats. We click down to here, and it says we've got Andrea shown as our local car seat installer, and she's doing great, moving right along here. But right here is our problem. Got a big red light here, and it says we'll work with a PIO office to develop a marketing program. Down here at the bottom, we've got notes on every planning element that just says what's going on. In this case, it says may not be reaching the proper demographic, only have a demand for 15 car seats a week. Okay, there's our problem. What we need to do then is go back and fix that specific issue to fix the whole problem. So in this case, we're going to go to our PIO office and find out, whether they believe that they're getting the complete marketing done and they're getting to the right demographic, and maybe we just overestimated the number of car seats in our geography. Number two, maybe they lost the resource and they haven't been doing the marketing, so they're not able to get out there. In one case, if in fact we're doing the job, but we're only seeing 15 car seat a week demand, we've maybe overestimated with 20. So we're going to adjust the plan down at this point to 15. In the other case where they're not doing the marketing and they need to bring a new resource on board or something, then we're going to make adjustments to the resources in this case, we're going to add another person in there to do the marketing. So you're either going to make adjustments to the plan or the resources in this case, and then you're going to go back, and that's where we do the adjust phase here, make that adjustment, and then we're going to go back through the cycle again. So after we make the adjustment, we're going to monitor again for another month, 2 months, a quarter, whatever it is, and we're going to just continue to go through this cycle. So this is that PDCA cycle, that performance improvement cycle, built right in the middle of the tool here. Performance monitoring at the macro level here, we talk about, is the dashboard screen. You saw that in the beginning. Let me take you back there. So I'm going to go to my groups tab again. I'm going to select the department level. So I'm looking at the whole department in this case. And I'm going to go down here and click on the traffic light button, which takes me to the dashboard screen. On the dashboard screen here, we have three distinct areas: the top left corner, the bottom, and then this top right corner. So let me kind of walk through what those are. The top left corner is the big picture. So since I'm looking at the department level, I'm probably the health commissioner or chief health officer, administrative officer, somebody who's, when I log in, it takes me immediately to the whole department. So what I'm looking at in this traffic light is either the number of goals, objectives, or activities. In this case, we've selected activities in each status. So that's red, yellow, green, and gold. So we have 15 completed, 11 green moving forward, yellow, caution, 4 of them, and 1 red. I can look at any of these just by clicking on it, drilling down, and I get right down to the detail. So this happens to be that one we were just talking about with Safe Kids program. We need to work with our PIO office. We go down to the notes and find out what's going on. So immediately I can go to look at that without having to go anywhere else in the system to look at it. You just drill down from that dashboard screen. The other thing you see up here is the schedule gauge, and what that's showing me is based on that beginning date, ending date, percent complete, it's calculating how we're doing against our schedule here. So in this case, we are 24 days behind schedule. It's yellow because we're behind schedule, but we're not quite 60 days behind schedule. At 60 days, it turns to red, and if it's 0 or above, it turns to green. So just by looking at that, you can get a great idea of how the whole department is doing. Now, if I were the WIC director and I logged in, what I would see is just everything related to WIC on there, and up here in this box, it would say USA Public Health WIC. Or if I'm the emergency preparedness director, it might say USA Public Health PEP up here, and it would just show me everything on the screen would be PEP. Down at the bottom, we can break this traffic light down by a couple of different things. Number one is by people who we assigned as activity leaders in here. So I've got Diane Cox as activity leader. I see the last time she updated it in the system. This is color coded for green is less than 30 days ago, yellow is less than 60, and red is over 60 days ago. Here's one of the roll-ups for that FTE, so I can look at employee utilization based on the assigned time that they've committed for each project here. So I've got Diane looking at a 1.25 FTE or 1.25 people job that she's doing. I got Fred slacking here at a 0.7 FTE. So now maybe I can go look at Diane's just by clicking on this. I can look at all of her activities and say, you know, I can assign these 3 activities to Fred. It'll relieve Diane a little bit, and it'll get Fred up to that magical 0.9 to a 1.0 FTE. So it's a great thing to be looking at resource utilization and the ability to keep people from burning out over time by keeping their FTEs down below a 1.0 where possible here. It's color coded, so anything over a 1.0 is red.
Fred, I have a question.
Yes.
So with the FTEs, so where do you, where would Diane be entering how much time she's spending on her workload so that it calculates the magic 0.9 or 1.0 FTE? Did I miss that?
Okay. No, that was on that activity screen where we were selecting an activity leader, and it had on the right column, remember the FTE, that's where you put that in.
Right, so that's where you assign it, but then how does Diane enter how much time she's spending on her project?
But all she's going to do is go back in and keep that number up to date. So she's going to kind of track it, and it really doesn't track specifically what she's doing on the project. She will be looking at that and saying, okay, I put in 4 hours this week, I put in 4 hours the next week, and maybe then I ramp down to 2 hours. So yeah, it doesn't collect actual time on the project. It allows them to go update that information.
Okay.
Make sense? Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So the other thing we have now in this bottom table, I look at Diana and I say that she has 3 activities lagging, and it's color coded again. So at least one of them is over 60 days. The days is the same as the schedule gauge. So how are we doing against our schedule? Are we on track? Are we ahead of schedule? Are we behind schedule? And again, it's color coded, so you can just look at the colors here. Overdue just means that ending date has come and gone and we're not on schedule yet. And then the red, yellow, green, and gold is the same as the traffic light, but for that individual person. So number one view is I can look at how my people are doing against their individual plans. Number 2 is I can look at my org chart and say, how's each of my divisions, offices, and programs doing? So same information over here, but by division, office, and program down here. And then the third one is by looking against my strategic priorities from my strategic plan. So down here I have, in our little demo organization, we have 5 strategic priorities, which are the services or initiatives from our strategic plan. And we look at those down here and say, okay, we have these 5, and again, we have the same data. How are we doing against those for the long-term vision, if you will, of the organization? So those are the breakdowns of that traffic light. So I look at that and I can say, yeah, I want to see how each person is doing. If somebody's lagging behind schedule or somebody's doing an exemplary job being way ahead of schedule, whatever. And then the top right corner, my priorities, is just things that you individually as a logged in user, everybody's is going to be different. You pick the things that you want to be able to keep an eye on here. Typically they're reds and yellows. Typically they're things that you or your team is working on here. And it's so easy to change that. I just click on it. I'm going to get rid of the green one because I don't need to watch it anymore. And I just click on this green flag. It goes to gray. And when I go back to the dashboard, it'll be gone. So that's how easy it is to pick new things to keep your eye on. But it's things that you just want to keep front and center for you here. Types of activities, real quickly, we have 3 types. Project-based activity you saw was beginning date, ending date, % complete. Pretty simple to track. If I have a finite number to track, like deliver 50 nutrition consultations for a small WIC clinic, maybe, I now have 50, so I have a denominator. So what I can do in this case, you know, with what we call the real-time planning system or the email system, the system will email the WIC clinic director or their designee on a monthly basis and say, how many nutrition consultations did you do last month? They'll go in through the quick update system and put in that they did 5. To date, it already had 20 plus 5 divided by 50 equals 50%. As long as, for this fiscal year, as long as I'm somewhere around December 31st, we're on track. So it makes it a little easier, a little bit more calculation for you. And then the last one is a QA activity, which is very similar to that car seat activity, where it's a frequency of weekly. So every week it's going to be querying the person to update the information. The high and the low value was that red and green line you saw on the chart, determining where the traffic signal was set to green and to red and to yellow. And then the metric type would just be car seats installed. So these 3 types of activities are available to you. Nobody's requested a 4th in the years that they've been out there. So if you have any ideas on a different type of activity, let us know. We talked about the 3-dimensional planning. This is a really, really nice tool for a lot of things, like tracking how you're doing against the essentials of public health, which is always a kind of a critical measurement for public health departments, is how are we doing against these 12 essentials now? So what I'm going to do is I actually go out and tag pieces of the plans, each plan, all of your different plans in the system, against a specific set of categories and subcategories that allow me then to go back and look and say, show me everything we're doing in the department related to public health essential number 1. So what you can do is say, we're doing really great on 1 through 5, 6 we're not doing too good on, 7 through 12 we're doing pretty good on. So maybe we need to rethink what we're doing against essential number 6. From the accreditation process point of view, you do the same thing with the FAB standards. So what I can do now is when the site visitors come out, I can say, show me everything in the entire department we're doing related to standard 6.1. So it's going to show you every piece of every plan, and it's going to show you every document related to 6.1. So what happens is when they come out, you put them in front of a computer terminal and they say, show me 6.1. Whoop, one screen, you have everything related to 6.1. Here's all my documents. You can download the documents, you upload them into EFAB or print them off, whatever you want to do right then and there. The strategic priorities we just talked about at the bottom of the screen there, this is how they're set up. I select pieces of each plan related to partnering in this case. And then the documents. All the documents are stored on our server, and then you go in and categorize them against like the FAB standards. So I have 3 documents related to standard 4.2, very easy to get to, very easy to update and maintain. We do that through a categorization process. Very simple. So if I go back to my department, my service here, the categorization arrow is this guy here with a little up arrow and the paper clip on it. The blue eye indicates it's been categorized, and the rollover shows you how it's been categorized. So basically, I just click on that and I say, okay, which strategic priorities does this particular plan element relate to? I can pick, up to all of them. Here's my essentials of public health and accreditation. Which ones does it relate to? Down here are all my FAB standards and domains. So in this case, which FAB standards and domains am I looking at? So we got standard 1.1. We also have all the re-accreditation measures in there as of January. So what the re-accreditation measures allow you to do during the initial accreditation process is maybe look at that re-accreditation measure and say, if I tweak this document or tweak this plan just a little bit, I'll be all ready for re-accreditation when it comes about, even though I'm in the initial accreditation process. So 3 years from now, when you start that process, you're way ahead of the game. In fact, you're almost done with the game because you've done your accreditation plan according to the reaccreditation measures as well to put you ahead of the game there. All of these categories and subcategories are provided as you see them. However, you have the option of going in and making any changes you want to it. As a system administrator, you can delete them, add new ones, modify them, anything you want to do with them. This is the real-time planning piece. This is that background email system. So you set it up one time, and what it's going to do is on a regular basis send out an email to everybody who's been designated as an objective or an activity leader. They're going to get an email that says, here's why you got the email, and it's going to give them a link that takes them right back into our quick update system, which just allows them to input between 1 and 3 simple fields. And in that field, they're going to put in, the number of car seats they installed or the number of nutrition consultations they did. Maybe put a note in there if there's some anomaly that they wanted to note. And then that updates the database. And this is what happens, every week with the car seat thing or every month with the WIC clinic here. What it looks like as you set it up is very simple. I go to my main menu as an administrator, settings, notifications, and basically it's very simple. I can turn them on or off here. I can say, when do I want them to go out? In this case, I'm saying every week, but I can do typically first week of the month on Wednesday is the most common setting here. So every week, in this case on Wednesday, the system's going to send out an email notification to every activity leader and objective leader if they haven't been in the system in 30 days, they have anything lagging behind schedule or anything overdue, depending on which of these checkboxes they have. So that's automatically going to happen in the background, and it's going to collect that information and present it to you when you go into that check phase to say, how are we doing? And the email reminder is very simple. It says, here's why you got it. In this case, I was in 4 days ago, so that's not it. But I have an activity lagging and I have an activity overdue, so I've got the email. All the activities I've been assigned are in this status. If I have any questions, here's my internal system administrators to contact. And then I just click on this link down here, which takes me right back to the dashboard. I go into what we call the quick update system here. And the quick update system is developed for exactly that. So people can do their updates in literally 3 to 5 minutes a month. That's all it takes. And that's going to be one of the biggest pushbacks you have when you implement a performance management system is, everybody's got an excuse why they can't do it. I don't have time to do it. I'm, getting ready to retire. I don't want to learn something new. I don't see that this is valuable to us, so I don't want to do it. If you go to them and say, look, all I'm asking you to do is keep track of these 5 activities, and it's only going to take you 3 to 5 minutes a month to do that. And on the first Wednesday of the month, you're going to get an email. You click on it, you do your updates, and you're all done. So it really does work very, very well once we got to that level here. And the quick update screen, I'll take you here. It's very simple. It just shows you, here's that pyramid, the goal service, or group service goal objective. Here's the activity, the type of activity. It says it's 1 of 9 I'm going to be updating today. So I do my updates down here, put in the new numbers, put in any notes, and just click on through it here. A lot of people just go look at that and say, yep, that's still current, click on through it, and literally in 3 to 5 minutes, they're done. Okay. Reporting, I won't go into great detail, but there's a report on everything in the system. Everything you can imagine, there's a report. Most of the reports are an operational plan. It looks like this. So here's that group. Here's the Safe Kids program. Here's the goals, the objectives, and all the activities, and all of the related data and notes in there. So you can dump out this report. It's all real time. So you can dump it out anytime, and you can compress it down by only wanting to look at objectives, or I want to look just at the last month or anything like that. Document management is built right into the system. So let's go to there. Go back to my department level services. Excuse me. This little blue folder you see on every screen is the document management. The 3 indicates there's 3 documents already attached here. The rollover shows me the names of those documents. If I click on it, it's going to take me to the document management screen. I have version 3 showing of this document. So there's obviously 2 other versions. And to see those, I just click here and boom, there's the 3 documents. You can take and put a description because typically you only have the file name, for a document. So I put a description of as long as I want it to be in here. Any notes about the document, my expiration date for that document for FAB purposes, and then a traffic signal flag, which indicates, red is typically a new document, yellow is a draft, green is a final document, and gold means it's been submitted, or in the case of FAB, uploaded into EFAB. So it allows you to track all that really easily here. This is a brand new feature as of 2 weeks ago, VMSG Public. What it allows you to do is pick any of those planning elements in that pyramid. So I can take a group, for instance, and say, I want to see how this group is doing, and I want to publish what we call a performance indicator row. So it would be like this top row up here. So this is for the department level at our USA Public Health, and it shows you the status of the objectives, red, yellow, green, and gold. In the live system, when I roll my mouse over this, it will show me exactly how many there are and things like that. And then here's that schedule gate, so it shows me whether I'm on schedule or behind. This takes literally a few clicks. I can say, okay, I want to see this group, and this group. I click on those. I publish a web page, and then it gives me the link for that web page that I give to my folks who manage our department website. Say, please put this link on our website so that people can go in and see this page and see how we're doing. So it's, the big push nowadays in public health seems to be around public health transparency. So we call this kind of automated transparency. It allows you to very easily share all of the information that you want to with the public. The last screen we'll talk about just real quickly is the help and information screen. So if I'm on the services page here, looking at that, and I say, I don't remember how to do this, I just click on the little blue eye up here in the corner. It takes me to help and information. It immediately goes to the service place here. So I know I'm looking for help for service, so it takes me right there. It gives me a bulletin list of things that I can do on that page, one thing. Number two, I can pop open a user guide by clicking on the little blue folder down here. That's a PDF user guide that's hyperlinked, so I click on anywhere in the table of contents, and it takes me right to that section. I can print that off if I like having a paper copy on my desk, or I can just dock it on my desktop. And then we also have video training on each and every function in the system. So this little guy, and you may not be able to see this real well over the GoToMeeting, but what it does is pops open a YouTube video, and it's a training module. So what it's going to do is actually walk me through adding and editing a service. So it's on average only 3 to 4 minutes long, but it's kind of that quick update that you need to be able to get back to doing what you're doing. And you can scroll forward in here if you want to and start in the middle of it or whatever you want to do. But what people typically will do is they'll go to the video, they'll watch it for a few minutes, then they'll toggle back into the system and actually do what the video is telling them to do. But the video is actually somebody showing you exactly what to do on that particular screen. We take all those videos, by the way, and we roll them up into training curriculums, these 4 up here: user level, admin level, operational plan development, and then a quick update. When you roll out the system, you're going to find over time that about 80 to 85% of your users fall into that occasional user. Is all they're going to do ever is once a month respond to an email that says, please update your activities. So the only training they need is this short little module here, which is, it shows them how to log in, it shows them how to update the password, and it shows them how to do the quick update screen. That's all they need to know. That's how you help facilitate the rollout of the system, because a lot of people will push back until you say, look, I'm asking for 3 to 5 minutes a month, that's all. Then you got the people who are going to be doing the planning, putting in the plans, developing the plans, managing the plans. And those are your users, and sometimes your administrators who have the ability to add users to the system and update your categories, that sort of thing. And then there's a whole module on what is an operational plan, what does it look like, how do I develop it, that sort of thing. So just as a quick summary here, I'll show you in a second here the cost model, especially for you guys, because Mr. Mark Pyle negotiated a really nice deal for you guys with us. So very cost effective. The ability to precisely manage each piece of your department using things like the dashboard and the actual operational plans. The 3D planning allows you to identify the gaps, the overlaps, commonalities across all your plans and operations here. Managing the accreditation process, whether it's, there's like North Carolina's got a state accreditation process, so we're building the tools for them to be able to manage that process in there. But in each and every case, it's been fully demonstrated, for FAB standard 9.1, and then the measures and things like that below there as well. And then from a technical point of view, it's super easy. There's no installation, zero installation. All you have to do is browser, go to our server, we give you the link, the user IDs, passwords, all that stuff, and you go right in there. You can walk through the training. We do some live training with you as well. We help you to implement your first plan, like your strategic plan typically, get that in the system, and away you go. So, as I promised, that was your drink out of a fire hose for the day.